I am Captain C. Rajendran, the Nautical Faculty of Capt University. Today we are going to talk about ROR, Rules of the Road, rule number 8. We're going to take up part A of this rule, which is very, very important. It talks about action to avoid collision. See, actually rule number 8 comes under part B, section 1, which covers in action to be taken in all kinds of visibility. So let's go to the rule as such. Action to avoid collision. Paragraph 8 talks about any action to avoid collision shall be in accordance with the rules of this part, that is part B, and shall, if circumstances of the case admit, be positive, made in ample time, and with due regards to observance of good seamanship. So the rule looks very simple, but it's not all that easy. Now we go into the key points of this rule, which is very, very important. First one talks about circumstances in the case admit. So it depends upon the situation in which the vessel is. The circumstances means, are you in open waters, enclosed waters, congested waters like palletage waters, rivers, estuaries, or whatever may be the number of waters. So let's go to the important key words of rule number 8. The first one talks about positive. So what do you mean by the word positive? It says any action to take avoid collision must be positive. It means you have to do 4 important steps whenever you have a target in view for which an action to be taken. Step 1, you take series of bearings of that particular target, and the second thing is ascertain whether the risk of collision exists and take action as per the ROR rules and regulations. This is very important. The second thing we will come to is the ample time. What does this ample time means? Is it quantitative? Is it in minutes? Or it is in a distance? It again depends upon the prevailing circumstances. The size of your own vessel, the size of the target, and in ample time. So it is up to the officer of watch to determine what an ample time means in that prevailing circumstances. And you should take action in such a way that you have taken an avoidance action and have enough of window period or window time in case something happens that the other vessel or your own vessels develop some problems such as steering failure or engine failure, and it leads to a kind of a close quarter situation. You are at such particular ample time that you can take a secondary action by which you can prevent a close quarter situation or a collision avoidance. That is called an ample time. The last but not the least is the observance of good seamanship. What is this observance of good seamanship? Okay, sir, we are talking about navigation, we are talking about bridge. Where does this seamanship come from? The seamanship is a general practice for all your tasks which you carry out on board, which is called a seamanship. It's not only your SOT, putting a knot, or maybe climbing up the ladder is not a seamanship. Seamanship means everything right from navigation to the maneuvering of ships. Okay. So we will go to the next important thing is any alteration of course and speed to avoid collision if circumstances in the case admit. Again, if circumstances in the case admit be large enough which is readily apparent to the other vessel, visually or by radar. Any succession, small alteration of course and speed shall be avoided. This is again very important. An alteration of course or speed. It is very clearly given in the rules that in an open sea, where there is enough of sea room, an alteration of course should be just good enough. Okay, if there is very restricted water, intense traffic, then you can consider of reduction of speed. Why we say that alteration of course alone means a vessel is very big, it carries a lot of momentum, So your alteration of course will be much faster and very effective compared to reduction or increase of speed, which may take some time for your requirement of answering the question. And it should be large enough. Suppose you have a vessel end on. See, the rule number 14 says each and alter course to starboard so as to pass clear. Like say, okay, it is head on. Suppose you are steering a course of 0, 0, 0. The other vessel obviously must be steering a course of 1 0. The rule says each and alter course to starboard. It is not set as to how much you alter. You just alter about 5 degrees and you just stay quiet. Probably you may not be able to achieve the CPA and TCPA. And again, thinking into account the circumstances, there could be a strong wind, the current which could be pushing you towards the other vessel, so that 5 degrees alteration of course may not be sufficient. That particular time your radar could indicate that you are having a CPA of 0.59 or so, but in reality when you get close to the other vessel, it will not be so when you end up very close. So first thing is, when you have such situation, you make a wide alteration of about 20 to 30 degrees, which is readily apparent to the other vessel that you want to cross. At night time, you could see the change of navigation light. You will see both the navigation lights. Suddenly, that vessel will be able to see only your red light. Right? That is what readily apparent to the other vessel, either by observing the radar or visually. Avoid small alteration of courses or speed, which is very, very important in case of.